Hello and welcome to Refresh with Dawn Herring, where observation transforms. And this is the way I see it as artist, aspiring musician, journal keeper, and full-time grandma. This is where we talk about awareness, attitude, and intuition, and how they lead to more confident decision-making and aligned living. I know I see, I choose to be transformed from the heart. I love, I see, I choose to be aligned from the start, because the way I see it matters. In the following episode of the Way I See It podcast, I will be talking about a facet of my journaling practice that I keep in my bullet journal that helps to activate awareness in my life on a daily basis. If that is of interest to you, then keep on listening, and I welcome you. Welcome to episode 5 of the Way I See It podcast that I have titled Music Mind. In this episode, I am going to share with you a facet of my journaling practice that you may find intriguing. If you're interested in journaling, or more specific, bullet journaling, then this is definitely the episode for you. I will also be talking about the awareness aspect of this particular bullet journaling practice that I keep, why it's important, and why it matters to me. Now, before I get into it, I just wanted to let you know that if you want to see images of this particular collection in my bullet journal practice, then you're welcome to visit my website at dawnherring.net to view those images so that you can actually see what they look like from my bullet journal. Okay, so first a bit of history. I have kept a long-form written journal for over 30 years. Several years back, I read the book, The Bullet Journal Method. And so after reading that, I thought I would try my hand at using a bullet journal in addition to my long-form written journal that I keep in a blank sketchbook. Now, one of the benefits to keeping a bullet journal for me is keeping track of the things that matter to me. In addition to the daily rapid log, it's like basically writing a list of the things that you either have to do or that you have already done that you can create with each day's entry. There are also pages in your bullet journal that you can create called collections. And a collection is basically a page in your bullet journal where you collect information that is relevant to you in one way or another. Now, one of the collections that I have been keeping in my bullet journal is called Music Mind. Yes. Now, I'll explain to you why I keep Music Mind as a collection in my bullet journal. In recent years, I have become aware of the occurrence of music arising in my mind on a regular basis. I'm not referring to the situations where you hear a song in the car or in a store somewhere, and then it gets stuck in your head and then plays on repeat in your mind. That sometimes happens to me, but there are many other scenarios that trigger music arising in my mind outside of that particular example. The fact that music arises in my mind on a regular basis has been an instigator of great curiosity on my part. So I decided to start recording in my bullet journal the songs that would arise in my mind at any time. In so doing, I thought it might help me to determine where the music was coming from, because I really wanted to know. I find that when I wake up in the morning, music arises in my mind immediately. And I find that music arises throughout the day. Some songs arise in my mind and stay there all day long. Some songs arise and then leave, and then another song arises and leaves. Every day is different. And I don't think it's an issue of what I'm exposed to necessarily, although sometimes if I hear a song in a movie, especially during closing credits, or if I hear it in a store, it will arise at a later time or immediately afterwards. So when I started this collection in my bullet journal, any time a song would arise in my mind, I would try to remember to write it down, like literally in the moment. When I would write the song down, I would try to remember if anything initiated the music to begin with. And if something did, I would write it down in parentheses after the title. I found the entire process of becoming more aware of when music was arising in my mind, to writing it down in my bullet journal, to determining what might have triggered this music occurring. It really started to give me a clearer picture of how my mind works. There are various triggers that can take place in my mind with some of the music that I notice. Sometimes a word or a phrase or a musical note might trigger a song arising. Sometimes a conversation I'm having with another person triggers a song. And often I sing it aloud when that happens, which can sometimes spark amusement, especially on my part, creating levity in that spontaneous moment. I just love it when that happens. But the times that are the most interesting to me are when the music that arises comes from my past. Sometimes from childhood, sometimes from youth, and other times from later years, especially with songs that really left a meaningful impact on me. One of the things that I hope to do with this Music Mind collection each month is that it will eventually reveal to me a pattern of music coming and going. Sometimes I do notice when a song repeats itself on more than one day, and sometimes that can happen when the music comes from a movie I've been watching on repeat, especially when grandson keeps watching the same movie over and over again. Yes. But I also notice this without there being a contextual source to associate with that music, which is an ongoing curiosity for me. It begs me to ask the question, where is it coming from and why does it happen to begin with? I think one of the greatest benefits to keeping this Music Mind collection in my bullet journal is that it automatically puts me in a state of awareness when I hear the music arising. Yes, that state of awareness immediately makes me more present and it slows me down. And with the act of writing down the song, it naturally puts me in a state of pause for just a moment. This pause can only benefit me because it forces me, as I slow down, to think very specifically about what is going on in my mind. It gives me the opportunity to ask questions about where this music is coming from. In a sense, it helps me to honor the way my mind works, knowing that music is an essential part of who I am. In some ways, the whole process I've described here is essentially a mystery. It shows the many layers, if not worlds, that exist not just in my mind, but in my heart and soul. In other ways, it shows me what matters to me, how I think, and how I communicate. I realize that some folks think in words, some in pictures, some in numbers. I think in music. Yes. I have shared several images from 3 different months from my Music Mind collection so that you can see what it actually looks like. Sometimes there's a question mark in the place of a title because all I hear is a melody or a few words and I don't recall the title of the song. I just know that there is a song arising and I'm not able to identify it right away or at all. Sometimes I record the movie or place I heard it. Sometimes I'll mark down the vocalist or group that sings it. And if the song arises repeatedly, I sometimes look up the lyrics to the full song to see what meaning it may have for me right now. Music will always have a special place in my life, and my Music Mind collection is the perfect place to honor my music mind. Here's a journaling prompt for you. How does your mind think? Are you pictorial or like a movie playing? Or do words take center stage? Are numbers your game? Give some thought, no pun intended, with the primary way your mind works. Take a few days or a week or more and write down what arises in your mind naturally. See if any patterns emerge. reflect on what those patterns may be speaking to you. By slowing down enough to experience this process, you honor how your mind works. Prepare to be fascinated. Thank you so much for listening to the Way I See It podcast. I really appreciate it. And if you have found this on YouTube, you are welcome to subscribe to my channel for future episodes. And if you found me on Spotify, you're welcome to follow me for future episodes there as well. You're also welcome to check out my website at dawnherring.net, where I have more journaling resources for your practice. And remember that the way you see it matters.